guys, welcome to the Chaos Podcast with James and Dylan.
So today we're going to be talking about how primarily AAA game companies kind of mistreat their audience, might include some gambling, get predatory, and what they can do to improve, and what others have done to improve. I hope you enjoy. We were talking about this while kind of coming up with topics for this episode, and this whole thing kind of stemmed from a recent thing of Blizzard. So if you've been following Blizzard at all, you might know that they haven't been very favourable. They've ported Diablo to just be a mobile franchise. They were pretty cocky about that, actually. Yeah. Everyone was like, "Oh, is this a joke?" And yeah, they were just like, "Oh, don't you guys have phones?" They're in hot water. They're not really
doing themselves any favours.
Yeah, so Blizzard not been doing great, and see this comes into play because more recently, it's just kind of the timing, because they recently made another Overwatch character gay, and the reason why I'm saying this is, I mean, it's alright for a character to be gay, but the way they've done it is kind of timing. It's more like they don't care about being gay itself. They don't care about people who are gay, who have struggles with it. They just think, hold on, if we can just put ourselves in the good book by making a character gay, people forget everything else we've done. And
it was like a marketing thing, wasn't it?
Essentially, yeah, it was like a guerrilla marketing thing, because they knew all these kind of big gaming, outlets would be like, "Oh, look, he's gay now. This is really progressive." But if anything, it's counter-progressive, isn't it?
You can say that back to if you ever played The Last of Us. The main girl character Ellie, she was lesbian, and for some weird reason, everyone went insane about it.
Yeah, that's the thing, because they made that like a focus in the trailer, didn't they? In The Last of Us 2.
And then they did a little DLC, and it was all about her meeting like her girlfriend.
A DLC about being gay.
Exactly.
That's about it.
It was just, I don't know, like, there's nothing wrong with being gay. I don't
there
get
isn't.
why...
Yeah, I know, it's just, but that's the thing, I feel we should just be making it more regular rather than doing this.
Why make it like
we're making it like some sort of groundbreaking thing every time, and of course, Last of Us isn't the worst case. I think Blizzard's kind of leaning on that, just trying to get out of hot water by saying a character's gay. And I mean, I even saw a lot of people in the LGBT community going, "That's cool, but it's not right. You don't care about us. You're not being sincere about this. You're just trying to look morally good and progressive."
What else did Blizzard do, didn't they? Because there was some sort of issue with wasn't it a suicide attempt or something?
Oh yeah, that came after it, because unfortunately for Blizzard, right after they came out of this 76 is gay thing, ex-Blizzard employee stood up and they started talking about how while they worked at Blizzard, it was ironically an awful workplace, like really awful. The guy was harassed by his race apparently, and he considered suicide. And he's told it before, but it kind of gained more traction now because, as you're saying, like Blizzard really doesn't care about these sort of things. They just want to look morally good.
Yeah. And
Blizzard just kind of responded with the usual, "No, everything's fine," like not really cementing anything. They're just denying it.
I mean, there's obviously a couple of things that because they made Overwatch, haven't they? And that game it's okay, but there are a few issues that I think when it comes to like microtransactions.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Overwatch is pretty scummy with that.
The only thing about microtransactions, especially in games where you don't actually earn anything, like it's all just sort of, I don't know what do you want to call it? Like basically, like because all the items you get are just different versions of the characters. Like do you know what I mean? They're all just consumable items.
Oh yeah, that isn't pay to win. But
no,
again, that can arguably be pretty bad too, because you're not earning anything, and it is gambling, and they're not doing much to change that either. They're kind of promoting gambling to a young audience.
Yeah, I mean, loads of companies do it, I don't know.
Oh yeah, a ton.
I mean,
EA especially, by Jinx.
I mean, like FIFA is a perfect example of like microtransactions. I mean, the other day I was looking at pack odds.
Oh.
And for like the proper rarest of the rare people, that limited time only, the pack percentage chance of getting a rare player was less than 1%. Less than 1. It's ridiculous, and it's costing you like 100,000 coins per pack. Like, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it really is. And what makes it even worse, like, sometimes EA is even endorsing these sort of figures and YouTubers who kind of do all these, like, FIFA openings.
Yeah, because
and
you have that thing where it's
yeah,
like...
they really are promoting gambling. This low odd to chance win. They're promoting it to children, basically, or, young adults. Children and young... I'd say that was FIFA's audience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's silly, though, because...
It really isn't worth it. I mean, I don't really know if you can profit real money off FIFA.
No, you can't.
No.
It's unlike things like Steam and that, where
Yeah,
you can...
the thing about, like, say Team Fortress 2, I still play it as a timeless masterpiece, but that's for another time. The thing about that is, it's you can still profit from that.
Yeah, because you can sell it on the market, can't you?
Yeah, granted, you might get something crap, which happens, but if you get something good, you can make mad money off that. You can... It is a profitable thing, TF2, and it's a better game anyway.
I mean, CSGO is another example.
Yeah, you don't play that, but it's the same thing, essentially. I'd say the CSGO market is probably more lucid, actually. Then again, a golden frying pan was sold in TF2 for $20 million once.
Wow.
20,000, actually. That's a little off topic, though. But it's still about microtransactions,
yeah, it's about
gambling.
Microtransactions.
Yeah.
I mean, another company you could talk about is Activision.
What have they been doing then?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, if we look back a few years and we go back to Advanced Warfare, which was made by Sledgehammer Games. Now, to be honest with you, Sledgehammer Games has made some really good Call of Duties. If you go back to Modern Warfare 3, that season pass, you'd be getting new content pretty much every week. And that was a big thing for Call of Duty. They'd never done that before. So, like, for example, they added loads and loads of community game modes. For the first time, they had a proper community playlist, and it had things like Infected, it had it had the Drop Zone, things like that.
Yeah, and this is all community, right?
Yeah, because it's what the community asked for.
Yeah, that's good.
Listened, did it.
It's similar to what TF2 occasionally does as well, where... Actually, I'm not sure about it, because most of what they add is just community stuff now, which can either be seen as lazy or caring about the community.
I'd say it is caring, because
it is.
if you're listening to your community, then the chances are it's because
I'd say,
you want them to keep playing your game.
Yeah, which a lot don't seem to understand.
Exactly, which you can go back to Call of Duty, because then you can move forward a couple of years and you look at Advanced Warfare. Now that game on its own I'm not really a fan of it. But the thing that really annoyed me was the supply drops.
Oh, yeah.
Because that was the first Call of Duty to have microtransactions that actually affected the game on a big impact. Because you could, the chances of getting these rarer items that would give you an unfair advantage, if you were either really lucky and just opened one or two and maybe got like a really overpowered assault rifle, or if you spent lots and lots of money on these supply drops, it's not a worthwhile investment, because a new Call of Duty comes out every year anyway.
Yeah.
So you could be spending... I mean, I've seen so many like YouTubers, just like the EA FIFA thing.
Yeah.
Opening these supply drops, and they get nothing, and they spend hundreds of dollars, and it's really bad.
It is bad, and that is being promoted to young audiences.
Which then you can go back. It is essential gambling. On that as well. Because, I mean, like...
And before we move on, actually, there was also... Infinite Warfare did pull something else, didn't it? Where the pre-order. The pre-order. There were, like... People thought they were listening to the fans once. Like, here's a Modern Warfare 2 remaster. Everyone was excited.
Modern
and then,
Warfare
like...
1 remastered.
Modern Warfare remaster, yeah. And, it was like, oh, they're finally listening, except they hadn't learned a thing, of course. Yeah. They were like, you only get it...
If you pre-order Infinite Warfare.
Pre-order Infinite Warfare, boy.
The thing is, though, right, the one thing about Infinite Warfare, their supply drops are a lot fairer, because they added in...
I'd rather just not have them at all.
I mean, me too.
It's very predatory.
But the thing is, at least they added in, like, this system where you could earn, like, credits as well as supply drops, and then you could just straight up buy the items you wanted. Which, granted, I would prefer to earn them in-game, but it's better than just having to go through these supply drops where your chance of getting anything good are just like so slim. It's just not even worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, really, and then you can go on to like Activision, obviously. They did a lot of that in Black Ops 3.
Yeah.
Which on its own was not really a good game anyway.
Hmm.
But I know a lot of people did like that game, but a lot of people weren't happy with the supply drops, but also the game developers weren't actually listening to the community, because when they added, like weapons such as, because they kept doing it, so they kept adding old weapons from the past Black Ops games, like the M16 and the AK and things like that. When they were doing that, the game was actually quite broken because the netcode wasn't fixed. So they were putting in these guns and they'd be like either ridiculously overpowered or just shooting like someone with a BB gun. It just wasn't killing people. And they literally failed to actually fix these problems for months, because I was going on to Black Ops, a month after, and you still have the same problems.
Yeah.
And they just weren't listening to you, which for me was quite frustrating, because obviously when you see these games come out and they're like, oh yeah, we really want it to do well, and then you just sort of give up halfway through. And for me anyway,
again, it could just be a facade, really.
Yeah.
They just, again, similar to suppose they try and coax these groups of people in, these kind of hopefuls, but
I mean,
they're all hollow.
Yeah,
I mean,
if you want to talk about like a hollow game, Battlefield 5.
That's a lot to talk about there. Yeah.
I mean, if I'm completely honest with you, I have the game, which is already a bit of a oh dear, because I sound like a bit of a hypocrite. Anything I say afterwards, but to be honest,
you're just criticizing it. Don't worry.
It's the launch for that game was just brilliant.
Everything up to the launch was incredible, because it's just their total disrespect for consumers.
Yeah, the CEO.
This is a story in its own. So it's kind of a lesson why they should treat their consumers a little nicer. So what was it? It was like Battlefield 5. They released a trailer. It had a lot of historical accuracies, inaccuracies. Yeah, and I think the problem was, I wouldn't consider, like, maybe some people were genuinely sexist, but that's some people. But for the most part, most people were upset because
a lot of the community, I don't think, intended to be offensive.
I don't think any, like, the main part of the community intended to be sexist. It was just, they were more like, why are you shoving this down our throat? It's like, this is
yeah, well, I mean, we can
wrong.
Talk about that, because
again, that
like,
is
World War II, there were women fighting in World War II.
Yeah, in some armies.
I'm not disrespecting anyone,
but they really are forcing it, like,
because I mean, there was like all the French resistance. A lot of them were women.
Yeah, a lot of them were women, but
the thing is, you didn't have, and I'm sorry, but you didn't have lots of women fighting.
You didn't have that many
on the front lines.
Yeah.
You didn't. I mean, don't get me wrong; they were in the factories.
It's fine, but having them in the game is fine.
It's
but
fine
it's more
as well.
the fact
that
when it was revealed, that it was an entire focus on having
it was like a whole main point of the game.
It was a selling point.
You can
play
as a woman.
Saying. Now, like I said earlier, it's like, wow, you can play as a bloody woman.
Yeah,
incredible.
just like an Overwatch, you can play as a gay character.
Look at that, they're gay. It's like,
why is that?
That's awful. That's not genuine.
No,
you're making them. You're putting them on a pedestal rather than treating them like regular, people.
Yeah.
Like, just if you want people to feel included, why don't you just casually include them? Don't make a big selling point out of it.
Because when you make it a big thing, then obviously people are going to have a bit like, I mean, that's with like Battlefield. A lot of people were quite outraged, because it's like, why are you making this a big thing?
I mean,
over something so small.
And of course their response wasn't great.
No.
So Sunderland, their CEO at the time.
Let's just focus on that point. At the time,
remember that. So he was getting a lot of criticism about Battlefield. Battlefield, like, it's being too preachy on all this stuff, like, all women can shoot people too.
Yeah,
which
is fair enough. Don't get me wrong.
As I'm saying, like, they can.
All about gender equality here. There's nothing wrong with that.
Don't be pushy about it.
But why are we making this a main
But of course,
point?
Sunderland, this big beefing boy, comes up and he's like, he's interviewed about it, and so what he does is he decides to disrespect his community the whole community even more. By not just singling out the people who are genuinely sexist, but the entire community. He just had a disdain against the entire community. And so what he did was, he called everyone historically inaccurate.
That's right.
And he said, if you don't like the game,
don't buy
it. and then everyone
all
cancelled
of the pre-order sales just failed.
And Mike Sunderland stepped down a couple months later. And that's a good lesson why you should probably Listen,
or not
listen
just
to the
that,
genuine part of your community,
but
not just people being genuine sexist. Just listen to the actual people who think you're going too far, which he didn't. He didn't care. Yeah, it's fine.
I mean, it's just, I think what's annoying about that is as a Battlefield, veteran, you can go back. Veteran, someone who's played a lot of the games, who has invested a lot of time.
Fair.
I respect a lot of their old games. Like, Bad Company 2 is amazing. And for me, it started to go down here at Battlefield 4 because that launch, if you ever played that game, was
not really into it.
Awful. I mean, the game itself, once they fixed it, was great, but that initial launch was just so buggy and glitchy and so many problems which they did fix. They did fix.
If they did fix it, how long did it take?
There was some issues, gun statistics and things like that.
Yeah,
but they did fix that quite quickly.
Like on a time scale, how fast do you think they were? Like how much did they listen?
Probably about a month, which was okay.
They still listened then.
Yeah.
They listened more than they did with Battlefield 5 at least.
Well, I mean, Battlefield 1 was an example of how it got a lot better.
Yeah, Battlefield 1 was a step up, and then 5 was just Battlefield 1 minus, if anything.
Well, I mean, that's the thing about Battlefield 5. Like, there's still problems now. The problems that they have now is with, basically, Battlefront 2.
Oh, yeah, right, that's a rabbit hole.
With the whole, supply drops there and things like that.
Yeah,
they're not putting a season pass on Battlefield 5. All content is free.
Well, yeah,
which is good.
That's good. They learned that they should care.
But the problem is you've got like this in-game credit, and you can buy that like upgrades for your guns and things like that, which is fine.
It's not great.
But there are a lot of issues with the actual.
I mean, it's better than gambling anyway.
It's better than gambling because at least you know what you're paying for.
At least you know what you're paying for. It's unfair, but better than gambling. So still caring more about their community than. I mean, EA is a part of DICE, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
publishers, right?
Yeah. I mean, the thing about DICE is, we can talk about Battlefront 2.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so Battlefront 2, this is an entire rabbit hole of EA just. It took. I don't know. I feel like they eventually started caring, but by then it was too little, too late.
It was just too much for me. It was just.
So I don't even know where to start with that.
Well, I mean, you could just talk about the supply drop issues, like just to start off with, just lackluster.
Yeah, I mean, I think the main reason people were really angry about Battlefront was not only was it a hollow shell of what the original Battlefront was, because they didn't really, when they got the rights to make Battlefront again, like reboot the games, they didn't care about what the consumers wanted, what the long-time fans wanted, because both of them are just Battlefield of Star Wars skins.
Yeah,
that is it.
Much.
And of course, they had to. You have to pay ludicrous amounts of money to actually unlock everything.
I mean, it was something ridiculous like Darth Vader.
Yeah,
if you wanted to play as him.
If you bought the most priciest version of the pre-order at launch, you would not have Darth Vader. It was something silly like that. But hang on, I'll have to bring it up because someone did calculate. Like things have changed since then, but someone calculated how at launch. How much money EA expected people to pay?
Oh yeah,
because it was like incredible prices. You could grind it, but it would take days to get anywhere. Yeah. So let me just look that up.
I mean, that's the only thing about like Battlefront 2 is when it first came out, I thought you don't really because Battlefront 1 was okay. It was all right. So when they brought out number 2, I was thinking, hopefully it's more. Like, balanced, and they haven't. Yeah. And they fixed on things because it didn't really need much of an improvement. And then you just add in supply drops and things like that, and it just sort of downgrades the whole thing.
Yeah, it's gambling. I found it here. So this was summer around launch, and this shows how little EA really cares about what their consumers think. So when Battlefront 2 came out, you might have paid, $60, maybe even $80 if you pre-ordered it. You know, get some little crappy bonuses.
Yeah.
They would have expected you to either play 4,528 hours to unlock everything, or to spend $2,100 to unlock everything.
Oh my!
That was the total price, and they thought their consumers were stupid enough to fall for that. Maybe some did. I don't know.
Wow!
And that didn't end well for them. Of course, that was when again, consumers kind of rose up against that. They were
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
stop.
they did. They took them out of the game, didn't they?
Yeah, which I think they eventually lowered prices. I don't know what the current state is.
Oh, it's gone. They're all gone completely.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't heard much about it. I feel like, again, that's kind of a lesson. It's just how big of an impact the consumers left on that because they upset them.
I think it was, well, what happened was, obviously, like you said, the community were uproared.
Yeah.
And DICE, first, they lowered the prices, but they also lowered the rate that you earned rewards. So, obviously, it balanced out. So, it didn't, not much really changed for quite a while.
No.
But then what they did was, they completely removed supply drops. Like, for example, you could go into the store, and it would just be empty. They removed the crystals, which was like, another way of buying supply drops. Gone. And to be honest with you, that was a step in the right direction.
Yeah, it took them quite a while to get to that, though, which is the kind of thing. It's just, I don't think EA has a total grasp on customer loyalty.
I mean, the thing about any microtransactions is supply drops doesn't make a good game. It just makes a good slot machine.
Yeah.
Like
if I wanted to play Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, I could just go to a casino.
Yeah, exactly, because it's that sort of just, oh my god, I'm going to get the rarest item. And
if I wanted to play FIFA, I'll just do a couple rounds in a slot machine. Yeah. It's the same effect. Overwatch 2. And it's, they're, just... And it really does kind of idolize gambling.
Yeah, I mean, they've banned gambling.
Yeah, I think the Netherlands in particular, I'm not sure if it's still ongoing, but I have a friend in the Netherlands, and, I read about this. They lock down anything close to gambling in video games. Like, you could not use them if you're in the Netherlands, which is good move by them.
It's good.
They're just like, all right, that's enough.
Yeah, I mean, I think, weren't they taking EA to court or something like that?
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure that's a bunch of their suits were possibly going to get locked up because of this, because they refuse to change. Well, again, not even caring about the government trying to stop them. Yeah. They don't care about their consumers. They don't care about the government saying, dude, stop.
It's good, though.
Real disdain for anyone.
It's a step in the right direction.
Step in the right direction for consumers, yeah.
I mean, if you want to talk about... because we can talk about smaller companies.
Yeah, of course. And I can talk about how... writing in female characters isn't hard, it's just most AAA companies suck at it.
Well, I mean...
They are awful. They think their selling point should be is that they're a woman, but that's stupid. You just make them a person.
Yeah.
But, I should probably actually talk about that. How to pull off inclusivity right. So, where do I start really with what? I don't know. So, let's bring up... Let's just compare things here. So, that's how Battlefield 5 handles, being able to make your character female. They have this big flashy trailer about it. They shove it in everyone's faces. They make it a huge selling point.
Historically inaccurate trailer where the lady has a robotic
arm. I don't even
arm.
care about the historical accuracies, but you're right. It's just they make, she's badass. Oh, she's so cool. Oh, that's it. They idolize it. They make it a selling point. Like, look how many men she's killing. She totally nailed that guy in the face. Like, it's like, it's not, and it's just kind of patronizing, really.
Yeah,
it is patronizing. That's the word I'm looking for. Meanwhile, let's take a game. I could just spin the wheel, really, here of ones that have done it right. Who stepped in? It was Freedom Planet. I'll talk about Freedom Planet by Galaxy Trail. That game has 3 female protagonists.
Yeah.
And I like all of them. They're good characters, and they are at no point a selling point. They're great. Hell, a sequel will have 4.
Yeah,
again, I already like that. That's good. And it's not a selling point. They're genuine characters, because the difference between what smaller companies have done is, let's say, Guys Show, they've written their characters as human.
Yeah.
They've written them as human, while Overwatch... Battlefield,
wasn't it?
They don't write them as characters. No. They write them as these godly figures of, representing like a race or woman or
I understand
some kind of minority or being gay. But it's kind of hollow at that point, because you're not representing them as just like, we should be inclusive. They're people just like us. They're regular people. We should care. they're more saying how it's like, look how much better they are. We should give them an extra pedestal.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the thing
that's
is,
bad.
though,
You should never write your character as a fill-in as a fill-in for a race, gender, sex. You should just write them as a human.
yeah. I mean, the thing, I do get why they've done it though, because it's to obviously try and get new players in. Some people that maybe haven't done the other ones, and you know what? That's fine.
Yeah, they always make a big deal out of it. That's
exactly.
the issue.
You don't need to make it a big thing because it's not.
I mean, like, Prey did it simple. Prey was 2017. That was more lean to being a AAA game anyway. That was published by Bethesda.
Yeah.
Not made by them, but published. And, I mean, that did it all right, because you had the option to play as, just female Morgan. Like, at the start of the game, you could pick, it's a protagonist, male or female, and that was it. That wasn't really a selling point.
No.
It was just, I think both the male and female versions, like, represented equally in terms of, like ads. I have a steelbook back home, you flip it over, it's either male or female. Like, good representation, not really forced.
No. Whereas it feels
granted,
forced on
he's
these
still kind of a silent protag, so I don't know how well that holds up, but the point is, it's inclusive, it's non-forced.
Yeah, but the point is, you can still make a character without making it the main point of the game.
Your character,
you can play as a woman. Like, if that's the main point of your game,
what are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing? Like, yeah.
I mean, let's not fix the actual issues or listen to our community.
Let's not attack any issues. Let's just be really obnoxious. Let's just say, women are the greatest here. They're not people. They have ascended above us.
Yeah,
that is it. We should,
smaller game companies then.
Smaller ones. So I mentioned Freedom Planet, how that has 3 female protags, done good. I like them.
Yeah,
they're great.
What about the people who made Subnautica?
I'd say they cared about their community a lot, because they were really inclusive about that. Yeah, I mean, they considered having an option to play female protag, though it wouldn't change much. So.
No, it does. It literally doesn't change anything.
It doesn't change anything really, because you never in game. You never even
see
you never
face.
even learn your character's name in game. I don't think he has a name, but of course there's a standalone expansion coming soon where your main character does have a character, and she's voice acted more. But and that's fine. But talking about less inclusivity, more just caring in general. They did care.
With the updates as well, didn't they?
They did care, because Subnautica was bought out in early access, but it's one of the few things that was in early access that was worth it.
Yeah. Because
they really did pile on content.
They kept adding things.
They kept on going. They did not stop.
It was really good.
And they tried their hardest. Like, even while keeping it as an open game to the public, they really tried their hardest to hide this story, so that when it was done, people would still have like this incredible experience.
Yeah, they'd still have a reason to go back and play it, wouldn't they?
Yeah, it's a small game that does go back. It really is just a game of effort put into it. It's not randomized. It's painstakingly made. They listened to everything. They made very minor changes just for atmosphere. They didn't keep things in that would just kind of break it.
They didn't add supply drops or some sort of unfair advantage to get things quick. It was just all about grinding.
Well, yeah, because it's single player. Why would you?
Well,
it's.
I mean, they could try that. Do you know what I mean?
I really, I don't know. That's kind of why I stick to single players, because they tend to care about players more. I mean, GTA 5, good single player, awful online.
God.
Some of the not really gambling, but you're expected to pay extortionate amounts.
Yeah.
And they don't care about their audience. It's just all they know is that these small children who are playing GTA 5 have their parents' credit cards, and we can exploit them.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's the thing about like GTA. Like they allowed all these really.
Yeah.
And you know what? Some of the content is pretty cool, but
none of it's cool.
It's so well.
None of it's cool because of how you get it.
But it's just. It takes so long to get it. If you're just grinding,
you can grind it, but again, what's the point when little Billy 2002 over here has just used his mother's gift cards to just destroy you. But again, so they don't care about that. They only care how much money can we make by being predatory on the younger audience, or more gullible, basically. Which you could say it's their fault, but
I mean,
I'd say GTA 5 is less predatory than other games we talked about already.
Yeah, no, it's definitely less, because that you're buying whatever you're buying, you're getting.
Yeah, you're getting it.
You're entitled to it. That's not the issue.
You can't profit, but yeah.
No, you can't.
Meanwhile,
profit from it,
Overwatch is gambling that you can't profit off. You just get good boy points basically.
Pretty much. Or a thank you. Thanks for wasting like $2,000.
No, if you get a dupe, you just get a good boy points, and you can sometimes exchange that for something you want.
Yeah. I mean,
like, thank you for being a good little shill.
What?
I'm not sure where else we can move on now.
What was the other game? The Fortnite. Right.
It's fine. Yeah.
Fortnite.
I have nothing against that really.
I mean, to be honest, that's not that. I mean, that's an example of a game that is actually okay.
Fortnite is, even though it is ironically about a giant warfield, it's a very inclusive game.
Oh well, the thing about
male,
that is,
female, black, white, whatever. You know, it's all there. I mean, you can just.
And that's not a main selling point. I mean, obviously,
that's
you can
not a selling point either.
There's the season pass, isn't there, where you can have all these different skins.
Yeah, they don't gamble either. I think. You know, in general, as much as I don't like Fortnite, I can respect it because it is a big thing that.
And all the updates are free as well.
It cares, yeah. I mean, they sometimes even throw a bone. You know, they give some free stuff out, and
which is good because that is a perfect example of why big game companies now are like dropping the supply drops and things.
Yeah,
because so many people are playing Fortnite because it's free. You can play the base game, and sometimes you can get free stuff for free.
Yeah.
And they're always constantly bringing out new content.
I mean, if there's one thing I would want Epic Games to actually do is listen more to the community that actually played the not Battle Royale game, the actual Fortnite, because I don't think they actually care about the original Fortnite either, because there was there's a 4-player co-op mode first, which you have to pay for, which I got gifted. It's pretty good. But I think it's better than its popular mode. But that's free, so that's why it's popular.
Probably why it's popular. Yeah, it is why it's popular, because it is free.
And I think they've forgotten about that, really, which...
But the thing is,
it's at least they're listening to some of the community more than others. You know, they're not being scummy. I can't, as much as I don't like it, you can't call out Fortnite for being not inclusive or being predatory.
I mean, yeah, you can.
They're fine.
You can get like consumable items, but it's nothing game changing.
I mean, everything in the game is random. It's randomized, so you're not paying for any advantage.
No. Which is
gambling
good.
either. I mean, there is gambling, but it's all free gambling. It's all just fun gambling. It's
it all
no
just depends
money
on
gambling.
what you get in, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which I think is just good because it's a game that is I just think it's amazing that it's free, and they still bring out free updates for that. I mean, you know, it's a constantly bringing out new content, and games are struggling to keep up with that.
Yeah,
struggling,
especially the AAA market. A lot of them kind of have lost touch.
I mean, if you look just back from last year, Call of Duty World War II was a perfect example that lost their community because they were so behind on updates and everything. I know so many people that bought that game and then a couple months later just sold it again.
Yeah,
because they were like, I'm going to Fortnite.
The AAA company, the market in general, ignore that. It moves too fast. Most games being made now have online focus, and they are perishable, basically. They don't... But it doesn't matter as long as they can make money, but that's kind of a thing. Again, you get forgotten if you don't do this.
Yeah.
Fortnite exists because they constantly update, you know.
Which is good. It's a good thing.
I can applaud them for that.
Yeah.
Not for much else, though. I don't know. I think the rest is kind of iffy.
Yeah, but you know,
iffy as in just
I don't think
wincy.
I don't think a game could ever be perfect. It's just you can appreciate when a developer listens to the community, because then it makes you. Definitely for me.
Yeah.
It makes you want to play more. Yeah. Like if you're listening to me and me as in the community, and you're just putting our ideas on board, I appreciate that because then it shows that they're giving us something back.
Yeah.
In return, I just think that, I just think that's a good thing to do.
It's good, just listening to people. It works wonders.
Yeah,
they don't seem to get that. It
Battlefield
really
5 should definitely listen.
A little. Yeah.
Just oh god.
Just a little. If you don't like it, don't buy it.
Yeah, I mean that just sums it up perfectly. thanks for listening to our podcast. We hope you enjoy.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun recording this. We hope you enjoyed listening as much as we enjoyed recording this. So I hope to see you next time. Yeah.
So this has been your hosts, James,
Dylan.
have a good day.
Have a good day. Yeah. Thank you for listening.